The topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Draw me close to you, never let me go. I lay it all down again to hear you say that I'm a friend.
Hey, the Almighty Creator desires a deep personal relationship with you. My name is James Robertson. I'm a researcher, publisher, and teacher regarding the matters and truths of the Almighty Creator, whose true name is Yah, the eternally self-existing. I've been actively serving him since 1993, over 31 years. If you're not actively serving Yah, then by default you're serving Satan. My objective is to show you how you can make a big difference on earth and qualify for a position of high esteem in heaven for eternity. It is important to understand that as a believer, just being good is not the point. It is relationship with Yah that counts. Without this, you'll be in a very unpleasant place in heaven with no way out. My aim is to show you how to get close to Father. If you're a good person without a clear relationship with Yah, then you're in a spiritual no man's land and will not enter heaven when you die. The Creator has said regarding unbelievers, why would I want someone to spend eternity with me when they do not believe I exist? Yah is calling everybody on the planet to be involved and serve him and help him to have victory over Satan. My goal is to show you how to do this. Fundamentally, we each need to learn to see things on earth from Yah's perspective, and my aim is to teach you how. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org. That's endtimeissueministries, one word, .org. Or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org. Today we're continuing with part 6 of the good news regarding Yeshua, the Anointed of Yah, incorrectly Jesus Christ, according to Matthew, incorrectly Matthew. So looking at the overview, the first book in the so-called New Testament in the Bible, Matthew or Matthew, provides an authoritative account of the life, death, and resurrection of Yeshua, the Anointed of Yah, incorrectly Jesus Christ. I've corrected the core translation errors and added commentary based on my personal experience and revelation. I will share this in the next few broadcasts. This is part 6. I will continue to read Matthew and offer commentary, and then finally we will look at the state of your relationship with the Almighty Creator. So we're busy with book 1 of the New Testament, the good news according to Matthew, part 6, chapters 18 to 21. Chapter 18, verse 1. At the same time came the disciples to Yeshua, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yeshua called a little child to him and set him in the midst of them and said, verily I say to you, except you be converted and become as little children, you shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoso shall receive one little child in my name receives me. But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believes in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged around his neck and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Woe to the world because of stumbling blocks, for it must needs be that stumbling blocks come, but woe to that man by whom the stumbling block cometh. Wherefore, if thy hand or thy foot offend thee, cut them off and cast them from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life halt or maimed, rather than having 2 hands or 2 feet to be cast into everlasting fire. So, service to Yah requires a childlike emunah, a childlike faith. It's just, Daddy, help me. Don't give him orders. Don't tell him what to do. And humility is vital. see the book The Final Quest by Rick Joyner, which is available on the internet or on Amazon, and it's available on my website under the ETI Bible version page with my commentary. Folks, you need to take Father at his word. You need to trust him and just flow with him. Verse 9, and if thine eye cause you to stumble, pluck it out and cast it from thee. It is better for thee to enter into life with one eye rather than having two eyes to be cast into hellfire. Take heed that you despise not one of these little ones, for I say to you that in heaven their messengers, angels, do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. For the Son of Man, Adam, is come to save that which was lost. How think you, if a man have 100 sheep, and one of them be gone astray, doth he not leave the 99 and goes into the mountains, and seeketh that which is gone astray? And if so be that he find it, verily I say to you, he rejoiced more of that one sheep than of the 99 which went not astray. Even so, it is not the will of your Father which is in heaven that one of these little ones should perish. Yahooshua in The Final Quest in 1994, I think, says that 99 are lost. The falling away in this age is huge. Currently, almost the entire population of the planet is perishing. There are a few 100,000 people who at a material level are vaguely close to Father, vaguely serving him. There are a few million more who are incidentally believing in him. And there are a few million more who once believed but have gone on as though he doesn't exist. And there are 100 million or more who think they believe but don't believe because they believe in Jesus and wrong names and so forth. My understanding is that Yahooshua was not literally saying pluck your eye out or cut your arm off or whatever. He was talking metaphorically, which he did quite a bit. Verse 15, moreover, if thy brother shall trespass against thee, go and tell him his fault between thee and him alone. If he shall hear thee, thou hast gained thy brother. But if he will not hear thee, then take with thee one or two more, that in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses every word may be established. And if he shall neglect to hear him, tell it to the assembly. But if he neglect to hear the assembly, let him be to thee as a heathen man and a publican. Verily I say to you, whatsoever you shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. So, assembly, church in the King James, meaning an assembly or congregation. Church is a meaningless religious word, like a lot of the religious words in most English Bibles. The verses I've just read to you set out a very clear progression of events in dealing with error or sin in the body of believers. Go to the person privately, take 2 or 3 with you to confirm it, then bring it to the assembly, and if at the end they still don't repent and turn around, then reject them. Today it's quite common for believers to kick somebody out of the church just on the basis of some whim about a perceived error, and frequently in my experience it's the people who are doing the kicking out who are actually the ones in error. So it's something that's very seldom adhered to in this age. And then whatsoever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Speaks specifically to the driving out of demons. And I've talked on that in other broadcasts. Verse 19, again I say to you that if 2 of you shall agree harmoniously on earth, as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Then came Kepha to him and said, Adonai, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Till 7 times? Yahooshua said to him, no, I say not to thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. With regard to two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that you shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. The King James says agree. The Greek is symphonio, as in symphony. Two or more believers pray in complete harmony and agreement. Then their prayers will be answered. Note that if one has a close relationship with Yah, then one's prayers will be answered in most cases without someone praying in agreement. Ask Yah to agree with you. It's an important principle. Forgive, forgive, forgive. Note that as he died, Yeshua said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Luke 23, verse 34. Verse 23, therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened to a certain king which would take account of his servants. And when he'd begun to reckon, one was brought to him which owed him 10,000 talents. For as much as he had not to pay, that his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and children, and all that he had, and payment to be made. The servant therefore fell down and bowed down to him, saying, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. Then the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion, and loosed him, and forgave him the debt. So the word talent, Hebrew, is a kikar, a flat round gold or silver disc. But note that this is also a play on talent being the ability of a human being. Thus Yah gives us each different talents and different quantity of talents, and we will be judged according to what we do with those talents. The human Lord here is a metaphor for Yah. So what you have here is that Father, when you come to belief, Father will forgive you everything if you ask him to. There's 8 days from the day that you first believed to go and deal with all the nonsense in your history. Say, Father, I ask you to forgive me all my sin. And he will forgive you. He will have compassion on you. But don't then go out and accuse another human being and beat up on them verbally or physically, and then think that that's okay. It's not okay. You're going to be condemned by Yah because he forgave you all your sins, and now you refuse to forgive somebody who has not sinned against you nearly as much as you sinned against Yah before you came to belief. And quite possibly, quite frankly, because the majority of believers are breaking most of the 10 commandments, they continue to sin right through to today, and they somehow mistakenly think that they're forgiven. Folks, it's not the case. If you do not confess your sin, repent of your sin, and turn around, you will not be forgiven. If you do those things, you will be forgiven, and take the blood, the bread and wine of the covenant, the communion, if you like. Take the wine and confess your sin and ask for forgiveness, and he'll forgive you. But then don't go and hold it against others. The same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which owed him 100 denarii. And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, Pay me that thou owest. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, Have patience with me, and I will pay thee all. And he would not, but he went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry, and came and told to their Lord all that was done. Then his Lord, after that he had called him, said to him, O thou wicked servant, I forgave thee all that debt, because thou desirest me. Shouldst thou also have had compassion on thy fellow servant, even as I had pity on you? And his Lord was wroth, and delivered him to the tormentors, till he should pay all that was due to him. So likewise shall my Father do also to you, if you from your hearts forgive not everyone his brother his trespasses. So just get the piece. So we've had several pieces about hell, lake of fire, etc. If you, as a believer, sin, and you die without repenting of that sin, you will be sent to hell to pay the price for your unconfessed sin. You will be tormented. Hell is a place of torment. And his Lord was wroth and delivered him to the tormentors till he should pay all that was due to him. You will pay all that is due by your suffering at the hands of the tormentors if you as a believer harbor sin and do not repent and deal with it in this life. Chapter 19. And it came to pass that when Yahooshua had finished these sayings, he departed from Galilee and came into the coasts of Yehudah beyond Jordan. And great multitudes followed him, and he healed them there. The Pharisees also came to him, trying him, and saying to him, Is it lawful for a man to put away his wife for every cause? And he answered and said to them, Have you not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female, and said, For this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh? Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore Yah has joined together, let not man put asunder. Put away is associated with divorce without cause. There are two fundamental Jewish concepts here. The one is divorce for fornication, adultery, breaking of covenant, and the other is putting away, which is just chasing away for no reason. Cleave, as in Genesis 2:24, shall cleave to his wife. Cleave as in a man cutting with a knife. A man sexually cuts into the cleft of the woman, into her sexual organ. The first act of sexual intercourse between a man and a woman is a covenant act. He is cleaving, cutting into her. In addition to that, sexual intercourse results in a spiritual one-flesh bond that ties the man and woman together forever. There are certain circumstances under which Yah will grant divorce, and there are certain circumstances. If he grants divorce, he will permit you to pray a very specific prayer to cut that one flesh bond. You need to know what you're doing. You need to make sure you have a legal authority to do that in the court of heaven, and then it will be dealt with. If not, it will tear you down. It'll pull you apart if you separate from the person that you have a one flesh bond with. And the house will be divided and you will not prosper. Verse 7, they say to him, Why did Moshe then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put it away? Notice that they're playing word games here. And he saith to them, Moshe, because of the hardness of your hearts, suffered you to divorce your wives from the beginning, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say to you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery, and whoso marrieth her which is put away, doth commit adultery. His disciples said to him, If the case of the man be so with his wife, it is not good to marry. But he said to them, All men cannot receive the saying, save they to whom it is given. For there are some eunuchs which are so born from their mother's womb, and there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men, and there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake. He that is able to receive it, let him receive it. So again, if we go back to the divorce putting away story, these Pharisees, whatever, were playing word games. They say, did he could put them away? And now they say divorce. Divorce is permissible in the case of adultery, and adultery includes covenant breaking. So if you have entered into a covenant relationship, also known as marriage, with strong and accurate vows, and the other party breaks one of those vows repeatedly and willfully, you have a basis for divorce, in addition to sexual immorality. 13. Then were there brought to him little children, and he should put his hands on them and pray, and the disciples rebuked him. But Yahooshua said, Allow little children and forbid them not to come to me, for of such is the kingdom of heaven. And he laid his hands on them and departed thence. And behold, one came and said to him, Good master, what good thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said to him, Why callest thou me good? There is none God but one, that is Yah. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. And he said to them, which? Yeshua said, Thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and thy mother, and shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. The young man said, All these things have I kept from my youth. What lack I yet? Yeshua said to him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, because he had great possessions. It's important to notice here that Yeshua clearly defers to Yah by declining to be called good. There is none good but one, and that is Yah. Yeshua is not Yah. He makes it absolutely clear there and all over the place in the books of good news. But people have got blinkers on. They don't get it. And it's important to recognize here that the 10 commandments are what Yeshua prescribes as the minimum to receive standing in heaven. The fundamental definition of sin is breaking one of the 10 commandments. 23. Then Yeshua said to his disciples, Verily I say to you that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And again I say to you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. When his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, Who then can be saved? But Yeshua beheld them and said to them, With men this is impossible, but with Yah all things are possible. Then answered Kepha and said to him, Behold, we've forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have therefore? So the eye of the needle was a very narrow gate into Jerusalem. And there are a significant number of statements that Yeshua makes that don't make a lot of sense unless you have the context of the land of Israel at that time in terms of Hebrew idiom and so forth. So it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle, just because the eye of the needle is a very narrow gate. And Yeshua said to them, Verily I say to you that you which have followed me in the regeneration, when the son of Adam shall sit in the throne of his kavod, his glory, you also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. And every one that has forsaken houses or brethren or sisters or father or mother or wife or children or lands for my name's sake shall receive 100-fold and shall inherit everlasting life. But many that are first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Chapter 20. For the kingdom of heaven is like to a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. When he had agreed with the laborers for a denarius a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And he went out about the 3rd hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. And he said to them, Go you also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I will give you. And they went their way. Just note that in this passage here, that Yeshua stresses his humanity as the son of Adam, when the son of Adam shall sit on the throne of his kavod, his glory. Again he went out about the 6th and the 9th hour and did likewise. And at about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and saith to them, Why stand you here all the day idle? And they said to him, Because no man has hired us. He said to them, Go you also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right I shall receive. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith to his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last to the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a denarius. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and they likewise received every man a denarius. But when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal to us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst thou not agree with me for a denarius? Take that thine is, and go thy way. I will give to this last even as to thee. Is it not lawful for me to do with what I will with mine own? Is then thine eye evil, because I'm good? So the last shall be first, and the first last, for many shall be called, but few are chosen. And Yeshua, going up to Jerusalem, took the 12 disciples apart in the way and said to them, Behold, we go up to Jerusalem, and the Son of Adam shall be betrayed to the chief priests and to the scribes, and they shall condemn him to death, and shall deliver him to the Hagoyim to mock and to scourge and to crucify him. And the third day he shall rise again. It's important to understand that those of us living in the last days will be rewarded comparably with those who lived thousands of years ago. And it's vital to understand that Yeshua came to earth knowing how he was to die, why he was to die that way. See the article, The Miraculous Planning of the Death of Yeshua, Where, How, and When on the website. So, folks, there are a couple of key points here. Yah's values are different to ours. It's extremely difficult to serve Yah in this age faithfully. And therefore there is, though we haven't lived through everything that's gone before, there's a great reward available to those who truly make an effort to serve Yah in this age. I can't stress that enough, folks. There's only one reason you're on earth. There's only one reason the earth exists, the solar system exists, the universe exists. And that is to create human beings, intelligent beings, and beings with the ability to make decisions, the ability to engage in conversation, the ability to invent things, the ability to create things, to be friends of Yah. And I'm sorry, if you are not working hard to become a friend of Yah, you're missing the whole point of why you're here. I can't put it more plainly than that. And then to understand, interesting, Father said to me the other day, it was not his idea to send Yahooshua to die that way. The Spirit who became the man Yahooshua, because he was created, the first created being after Yah started the creation process. And so he was Yah's right-hand man, he was Yah's aide-de-camp, chief operating officer, whatever you want to call it. And they had a conversation about the wrong direction mankind was taking. And what more could they do to turn the situation around? And Yeshua, I'm told, said to him, I will go and I will we'll go through the whole process. I'm not going to go into all the details. It's in the document that I've referenced. Fulfill those foretellings, and I will die the death on the stake. And I will make a way for humans to be forgiven and for humans to come back to you, Father Yah. So he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew exactly what was facing him. They had been executing people on that execution site for hundreds of years before Yeshua came. Then came to him the mother of Zabdi's children with her sons, worshipping him and desiring a certain thing of him. And he said of her, What wilt thou? And she said to him, Grant that these my 2 sons may sit, the one on the right hand and the other on the left, in thy kingdom. And Yeshua answered and said, Ye know not what you ask. Are you able to drink of the cup that I shall drink of, to be immersed with the baptism that I'm immersed with? They say to him, We are able. And he said to them, Ye shall drink indeed of my cup, and be immersed with the baptism that I'm immersed with. But to sit on my right hand or on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them for whom it is prepared of my Father. And when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation against the 2 brethren. It's important to note that those 2 thrones are still available. They will be given to the people who most powerfully serve Yah in the last days. They're available to you if you really go all out for this, and I'm certainly hoping that I can make it there, although I think it's a long shot. But it's important to recognize this woman asked for something that she had no right to ask for. And in the process, she brought judgment on her sons. Think about it. I'm immersed with the baptism I'm immersed with. What he was talking about was the death he was about to die. So they both died in similar circumstances, stoned and what have you. So just be a little bit careful about what you ask for, folks. 25, Yeshua called them to him and said, "You know that the princes of the Hagoyim exercise dominion over them, and they that are great exercise authority upon them. But it shall not be so among you, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your servant, and whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Even as the son of Adam came not to be served, but to serve and give his life a ransom for many." So serving Yah is not about ruling over people. There are a lot of churches and mosques and synagogues and temples and whatever, where the priests or the rabbis or the pastors or the imams or whatever rule over their congregations. Folks, I think you might get a nasty shock when you die. 29, and as they departed from Jericho, a great multitude, that's Jericho, a great multitude followed him. And behold, 2 blind men sitting by the wayside, when they heard that Yeshua passed by, cried out, saying, "Have mercy on us, O Adonai, thou son of David." And the multitude rebuked them, because they should hold their peace, but they cried the more, saying, "Have mercy on us, O Adonai, thou son of David." And Yeshua stood still and called them and said, "What will you that I shall do for you?" And they said to him, "Adonai, that our eyes may be opened." So Yeshua had compassion on them and touched their eyes, and immediately they received sight and followed him. Chapter 21. And when they drew nigh to Jerusalem and were come to Bethphage, the Mount of Olives, then sent Yeshua 2 disciples, saying to them, "Go into the village over against you, and straightway you shall find a donkey tied and a colt with her. Loose them and bring them to me. And if any man say aught to you, you shall say, Adonai has need of them, and straightway he will send them." All this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken by the spokesman of Yah, saying, "Tell you the daughter of Zion, behold, thy king cometh to thee, meek and sitting upon a donkey, and a colt, the foal of a donkey." And the disciples went and did as Yeshua commanded them, and brought the donkey and the colt, and put on them their clothes, and they set him thereon. So now, if you have any knowledge of the story of Yeshua, you will be aware that we're now heading to the climax of his life, where he is betrayed, he is sentenced, he's beaten, he's tortured, he's executed in a really, really terrible way. And then he comes back to life, having defeated death. Verse 8. And a very great multitude spread their garments in the way. Others cut down branches from the trees and strawed them in the way. And the multitudes that went before and that followed cried, Hosanna to the Son of David. Blessed is he that cometh in the name of Yah, the eternally self-existing. Hosanna in the highest. And when he was come into Jerusalem, all the city was moved, saying, Who is this? And the multitude said, This is Yahooshua, the spokesman of Yah of Nazareth, of Galilee. Notice that as we go beyond this, that despite this dramatic acclaim, that the high priests were scheming to put him to death and were blind to the move of Yah that was all around them. And Yeshua went into the temple of Yah and cast out all them that sold and bought in the temple, and overthrew the tables of the money changers and the seats of them that sold doves, and said to them, It is written, My house shall be called the house of prayer, but you have made it a den of thieves. And the blind and the lame came to him in the temple, and he healed them. And when the chief priests and scribes saw the wonderful things that he did, and the children crying in the temple and saying, Hosanna to the Son of David, they were sore displeased, and said to him, Hearest thou what these say? And Yeshua said to them, Yea, have you never read, Out of the mouth of babes and sucklings thou hast perfected praise. And he left him and went out of the city into Bethania, and he lodged there. Beyond Yeshua's righteous anger, note that Yeshua had been in the temple on various occasions and not taken action. He takes action now with the express objective of provoking the high priests and other senior religious people. It was Yeshua's objective to be beaten and executed on the stake. I wonder if you, even if you've read the Bible a few times, even if you're quite a devout Christian or some other person who thinks that the Bible's an authoritative text, have you ever really thought about the fact that Yeshua came to the earth with the express intent of living a life without sin, setting an example, provoking the chief priests and the scribes, etc., and dying a terrible death? Has that ever occurred to you? Because if you haven't realized that, you've missed the point of his life. And one of the things you need to get a hold on is that Yeshua is quoted in several of the books of the good news as saying to those who questioned him, what is the greatest commandment? And he said, the greatest commandment is thou shalt love Yah, the eternally self-existing, your mighty one, with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, and with all your strength. He didn't say, love me. Elsewhere, we read a few minutes ago, there's no one good except Yah. Yeshua was at pains to point out that he was not Yah. He was not Yah in the flesh. To understand Yeshua, understand that when he was immersed, he was free of sin, and the Spirit of Yah descended on him in great measure. Then he went into the wilderness and fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, and he came out of there with the authority and the anointing to heal and perform miracles. There's nothing magic about Yeshua. He's not God in the flesh. It was the Spirit of Yah on Yeshua that equipped him and empowered him to perform the miracles, for Yah to speak through him, etc. So you make a great, grievous error if you believe that Jesus is God. You can get into linguistics because God actually means mighty one as much as it means almighty. So you can say Jesus is a mighty one, and that's true. But he is not the almighty, not the mighty one, the mighty one of mighty ones. He was and is a man. He could not have achieved what he did without being a man. He could not have been God in the flesh, because then he would have had no authority, because Yah gave all authority on earth to Adam. Adam gave that authority to Satan. Yeshua got the authority back by living without sin, and it's up to those who believe to execute and apply that authority. And that means you bind demons, cast them out, send them where Yah wants them to go, and so forth. You bind and cast out satanic messengers, satanic angels, and so forth. You preach truth, real truth, not the lies that most rabbis and pastors and priests and imams, etc., teach. The church, in all its forms, whatever you want to call it, the assemblies of all the different religions and denominations, are corrupt and full of error. True faith in Yah, true service to Yah, is service to Yah at all costs, alone, without taking on labels and what have you. Yah is calling you to set apartness, holiness, sanctification, whatever you want to call it. He wants you to be free of sin. It's possible for you to get free of sin. It's hard work. It requires prayer. It requires study. It requires a whole lot of effort. But Yah will fill you with His Spirit to a point where you can live free of sin. And He will reward you accordingly. And as I said a few minutes ago, if you're not aiming to do that, your life has absolutely no purpose, my friend. Absolutely no purpose. Because when you die, you are going to get one terrible shock. I'll continue with this next week. I want to ask you, what is the state of your relationship with the Almighty Creator? I'd like to ask you to critically examine where you are relative to Him. Do you talk to Him constantly throughout the day and allow Him to lead you in every possible way? Do you worship Him at every opportunity? Have you clearly and unambiguously heard Him call you friend? If not, you're failing in your life purpose and you'll be bitterly disappointed when you die. If you've now come to belief, please pray along the following lines. Father Yah, I come to you in the name of Yeshua. I now believe that you exist. I confess my sin of unbelief and repent of my unbelief, and I ask you to forgive me. I now commit my life to you, and I ask you to take me by the hand and lead me into deep relationship with you. I ask you to fill me with your Spirit and to change me and help me to become the person you want me to become. I ask you to help me to find people who can help me and help me find books, websites, articles, and other resources that will help me. I ask you to show me what I can do to actively serve you and lead others to deep personal relationship with you. I thank you for saving me. There's a period of 8 days from sincerely coming to belief for the first time, during which there is extreme grace to help you. See the article, Critical Actions on First Belief, for actions you should take immediately, on the website. Drop me an email at james@endtimeissueministries.org. That's james@endtimeissueministries, one word.org, so I can help you, pray with you, counsel you, etc. As I've said several times, Father wants to be your friend. He wants you to be His friend. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're rich or poor, educated or uneducated. It doesn't matter if you're African or Asian or Indian or European or American or whatever. It doesn't matter if you're a full-blown Satanist. He wants you to become His friend, and He will help you to get there. In closing, thank you for listening. Please send me your questions to james@endtimeissueministries.org. Please email me to join the mailing list at james@endtimeissueministries.org. If you decide to draw close to the Almighty, please let me know, and I can connect with you by Skype, Zoom, Teams, email, or telephone so that I can help you with your journey. I hope to connect with you again next week, when I will continue to explore how to become a friend of the Creator. Work with me to make a way for Yeshua to return in victory at the end of the millennium and make His enemies His footstools. So to continue my point, it doesn't matter who you are, where you are right now. Father will take you by the hand and lead you. He will meet you wherever you are, even if you're in the depths of Satanism. Just pray the prayer that I just gave you. Reach out to Him as a little child and say, Daddy Yah, Abba Yah, help me. I want to become your friend. It's so simple, folks. It really is that simple. Don't pay any attention to all the complications that religion has put around this. Religion is from Satan, I'm sorry to tell you. Religion is one of Satan's guises to keep people from becoming friends of Yah. Satan has done everything in his power to stop people getting close to Yah. And we see that in what we've been reading, and we'll see it more next week, that the chief priests and the Pharisees, etc., completely missed it when Yah did something. So please visit the website, drop me an email. I'd love to help you. I'd love to hear from you. And I'm going to say good night. If you've been on the channel for a while, you're going to probably drop off now. If this is your first or second time, please stay on. I've got something to share with you. So to those who are leaving, cheerio. In closing, who am I? James Robertson. I have a doctorate in engineering and I'm a retired military commander. I now work as a management consultant. I have over 31 years experience of actively seeking to draw close to the Almighty, following a dramatic encounter with him on the 12th of March 1993, when he spoke to me audibly in a locked room and I knew for certain that he was real. In learning about Father, I applied my deep-seated aversion to failure born out of an accident in early childhood, coupled to my engineering and military training of rigor and preventing failure, to my seeking of knowledge about Father. This journey led to numerous supernatural experiences, prayers answered, and clear communication with the Creator that forms the basis for what I teach in these programs. See the video, Why Seek Relationship, for an overview of what I believe. Please visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org to get more information. The ETI version of the Bible with correction of key translation errors and commentary is on the ETI Bible version page on the website. Recordings of nearly all of the teachings broadcast so far, search on Google for quote Relationship with Creator Radio unquote. There are about 4 podcast websites with all the back issues. See that for transcripts of the broadcasts, see the transcripts of the broadcast page, which is typically 3 or 4 weeks behind, and that also gives you links to the recordings. Books with teachings from 1998 to May 2019 are on the Books for Printing page. I publish regular email articles. Email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to be added to the list or to seek counsel or prayer or give me feedback. Visit the website and use the Google search, article keyword cloud, table of contents, and article search to locate the information you're looking for. Thanks so much for listening and have a good evening. Cheerio.
Father, I come to you, lifting up my hands. By your grace I stand, just because you love me. I know your favor.
Hi, I'm James Robertson. I want to ask you what you understand about the history of Yahooshua, the Anointed of Yah, incorrectly called Jesus Christ. Also, what do you know about the Almighty Creator of the heavens and the earth? If you're not aware of the life and teachings of Yahooshua, then please listen to my broadcast on w4cy.com internet radio or talk4tv.com internet TV. Also visit my website at www.endtimeissueministries.org. That's endtimeissueministries, one word, .org, or email me on james@endtimeissueministries.org to find out more. Thanks so much.